The second topic is the high status behaviors. And could you talk a little bit about, what these are and how can entrepreneurs use these more to basically perform more? So what are the high status behaviors at the starting point?
High status behavior, I wouldn't like to take credit for it. It comes from a guy called Keith Johnston, a pioneer in improvisation theater, born in the 30s. And he actually studied what puts an actor in a high status versus low status. What are the behaviors that contribute to that? So it's coming from there. So let me give you a couple of examples. Some people want to appear dynamic and they want to appear, to portray a lot of energy, and they tend to move a lot. I'm trying to mimic that. So they move their head, they move their body, I don't know what's the impression I'm giving on you right now, but usually that doesn't project that much confidence. It rather projects a low status and nervousness.
Yep.
So one of those is keeping your head still, for example, not moving all over the place, your head, okay? Keep it still. Number two, the eye contact. Maintaining the eye contact is critical. Now, of course, you don't always have a video or a face-to-face conversation, but as much as possible in face-to-face, maintain the eye contact. That again projects self-confidence and high status. Another one is breathing, the pace of breathing. The deeper and the slower you breathe, and the more confident you will appear, because you just slow down. Okay, then that will project an impression that you are under control. And yes, therefore, indeed, when you slow down, you have the capacity to be in control with yourself, and therefore to project an image of higher self-confidence. Another one is whether you sit or stand or sit straight. Okay, don't take a pose like this, or it appears cool, it appears very relaxed, but actually it doesn't project that a great image. So stand straight, not leaning forward either, just straight. Another great one, which I really love, is silence. I don't know how many people you've seen who are not comfortable with silence. I see a lot, and I see a lot of people feeling the need to fill in the gaps. And that is typically a sign of lack of confidence. So, you don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want the person in front of you to be uncomfortable. Yep. Therefore, you fill in the gaps. Another one that comes to mind is qualifiers. So, people believe that because they use words like extremely or particularly or all those little words, or sometimes long words, that qualify the sentences, the content. All those words are actually not helpful, and they project the image that you want to convey a message that things are important or in a certain way, when actually the content should be enough to project that image. You don't have to use words that qualify the way you want to project them. So, those are a few. I mean, there are others, but those are a few that I find practical. And if you practice them well, if you are aware of those that you do not necessarily practice well, that will make really quite a big difference.
Great. And one that I remember also you mentioning is using your phone in a conversation or in a meeting and looking at your technology.
Fair enough. Yes. I mean, yes. You know, I guess this one is disappearing a little bit because it used to be that using technology looked cool, looked kind of, you know, I'm busy, so I'm important. Now, I think we passed that stage, I feel, huh? And people know that it's just uncool to be interrupted. But I mean, some people are still interrupted by the beeps of their phones, and if not the beeps, the buzz, meaning the vibrations. Yes, indeed. Put your phone on silent mode, excluding vibrations. It is extremely distracting for yourself, but also for the other person in front of you to hear those noises all the time. And I think that becomes obvious for many people now, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Christophe, for that. So maybe to finish on this particular item. So one thing that always impressed me is, you know, for example, politicians, or even in the business meetings, when someone gets really angry at them, and instead of them, you know, responding with aggressivity, they basically, you know, write down a few notes, they breathe slow, they take the time before they respond. And that's very impressive. I mean, you know, how do you do about this if you're a bit of a passionate person?
Indeed, you know, don't mislead those guys. I mean, they are being coached and they are being observed, and they are given a lot of feedback before they reach that kind of stage of mastery. That requires a lot of work. You know, when you have those habits of reacting in an emotional way, which sometimes we all have those things in certain triggers, you know, tend to trigger us. You just need to observe those habits for a long time before you can have a chance to change them. The more you observe yourself and you reflect on those self-observation, the more you will understand what triggers you. You know, what are the triggers that puts you into that kind of mode? And it's only once you understand the triggers that you can start working on those and start to decrease the impact of those triggers. My advice to any entrepreneur that wants to get better at this is declare this to people that you trust. Declare that you want to get better in terms of your charisma or your leadership presence, and declare exactly what you are working on once you are aware of it. So for example, tell people, you know what? I'm not very comfortable with accepting silence. I want to observe silence in a conversation. I'm not comfortable with resting still in my posture. You know, I tend to project dynamism and move with my body. I want to be better at that. I want to appear still. So I'd like you to observe me on those two behaviors. For example, over a period of weeks and on a regular basis, any opportunity that you can get feedback, ask for direct feedback and continuously work on it and keep working on it. I mean, it takes a lot of time and a lot of observation, self-observation and feedback, reinforcement, positive reinforcement from people around you for you to start, you know, shifting step by step. But it works. There's no doubt it works.
Well, thank you, Christophe. This is excellent, and I think it's going to be helpful to many in our programs and our teams and people watching.